Howdy my friends, and welcome back to more Let's Play SimCity 2000. And it is September 1902, and you can say that our small little town of Karen is flourishing quite nicely. It's building up pretty well, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the speed back on. I had stopped it temporarily when I stopped recording here. And we're low on money, but we have built quite a bit. And it's time, I think, to go ahead and place our mayor's house. We hadn't actually done that yet, but we had to place our home too, you know. And let's go ahead and put it right here, right near the marina. I think that'd be a nice place to live, don't you? Right by the river. I don't know about being right by the river. That might not be a good idea, but close to the marina anyway. Go ahead and put us a little park there also. Might as well put a few parks in here also. Raise the land value a little bit. People have to deal with all that pollution. And I hope y'all are having a good day today. I hope you're enjoying this so far. I know I'm really enjoying this game, but it may take a while. We're still, we're going to be aiming for a very, very large city, but we're growing pretty well. 4,490 people. And it may be time to go ahead and look at our ordinances and our budget. Right now it's on auto budget. And I'm going to go ahead and change this music, because I don't like this song very much. I'm not crazy about that one either. And all I have to do on this PlayStation version is you just push the start button, and it will change the music. And there are like several songs, but there's only a couple that I tolerate at all. Oh, this is my favorite. I don't know, this song right here is just really happy. It's kind of a peaceful, kind of a laid back, happy theme. So, subways erected by Cape Town. And subways are extremely expensive. Karen's fear factor rising. That's hilarious. The subways are extremely expensive, although they are a good form of transportation. They're not really expedient at this point, so we won't be using subways quite yet. It'll be a little while before we experiment with subways. Well, let's go ahead and build some more residential zones. And I think go ahead and add more space between that. Give y'all power. I think I'll get down to like $100 and then I'll stop spending. Because I want to save $100 at least, just in case a disaster occurs, Always a good idea. Ooh, I got a little bit close there. But as you know, I like to keep them in 3x3s, just in case they decide to go up into large buildings. Like for residential zones, they'll become large apartment buildings. And I usually don't put my light residential zones and commercial zones and stuff except on the outside of the map, because the land value is really low there. Well, we are going to run out of money here, but that's alright. Surely a disaster won't occur. I'm actually not taking my own advice here. Alright, so now let's just sit back and watch it grow. Let's look at our water. Let's see, I have some money for some water pipes. So does everybody have water? Almost everybody does. It's pretty good. This block looks like it will have water, but this block won't, so let's put a water pipe here. And let's put a water pipe here. And then everybody should have water, I think. Oh, the train station didn't have water. Might as well give it water too. And the power plant doesn't have water, but I don't care too much about it. Oh, my house doesn't have water. That's not good. I gotta have water. And I tell you what, I hate going without water. I've had to do that a couple times. Oh, look at that! Yeah, it's not very fun when that happens. Is this commercial zone here? I think it is. Yep, drive-in theater. Yeah, so say what happens, and it'll tell you the crime. It's a medium, because it's actually pretty distant from the police station. As a matter of fact, I probably should go ahead and up my police, because I don't have it at 20% right now. I think my city's probably large enough to where I could up it. And if you look, you can say this is in construction here. This is already a 3x3 large factory. This is going to be a 3x3 large factory. And then so will this, but this will be a different kind. You have several different kinds, unlike in the old SimCity games where they all look exactly the same. You say your buildings in this one look quite different. And your commercial zones will form different things. Sometimes they'll be large office buildings, sometimes they'll be drive-in theaters like this. Sometimes they'll be hotels. I mean, they'll just be different things. It's really, really cool. I really love this this SimCity version. Let's look at our train. Let's see how many passengers ride on the train. 146 passengers a day. That's actually quite a bit considering we have less than 5,000 people. Alright, enough blabbing on. Let's wait until January when we have a little bit of money. And it won't take it too long. I guess while we're waiting, time will still pass. We can actually look at our map here. And I'll go ahead and explain all the things on this. On the far left here, you have, this shows your zoning. And this, I think that just shows the structure of everything, all the land you have developed. But this is all the zoning. The diamond indicates where your window is that you're currently looking at. And here's our zoning. And what I hate about this version is you can't hardly tell what's commercial and what's residential. The green is residential, the blue is supposed to be commercial, but you say here's your blue. And it's hard to tell the difference between the blue and green, but I will. This is my fire coverage, which is not good. This is the location of fire stations. There's my location. And here's the location of school. And here's the location of college, which I don't have a college yet. Because we're poor, we can't afford a college in the city yet. And this indicates land value. And land value is... I don't know why this is black. I don't know if that means it's super high or if it just hasn't registered. I think that just means it hadn't registered yet, but I'm not 100% sure. But the dark gray and black indicates really high land value, but I think this hadn't registered yet. And the Y indicates low land value. Of course, this is where I have my industrial, thus my pollution, and thus lower land value. Here's pollution. Really, really high pollution, and that's one reason we're fixing to look at our ordinances, because I guarantee you people are going to be asking for a pollution ordinance. And here is crime. And you say pretty high crime. Of course, our police radius is not very good because we're only funding 20%. Here's the location of police, just like the location of fire departments. Here's population density, pretty decent. The darker the gray, the higher the population density. This indicates growth. Blue is growth. Red is a decline. And don't see very much red, so that's good. And here's water. And don't have water on this side, but it may just not have registered yet. Then again, I may need to build more water pumps. We'll have to say I'm not going to worry too much about that yet. Y'all can wait a little while on water. But don't you hate it when like a big storm hits and or like if your water pipes bust like in the winter? That happened to me one time, man. I learned my lesson. It's not any fun. Water pipes busted and I had to shut my water off. Yeah, I learned my lesson. Don't want to go through that again. And here's roads, and here is rail, which rail obviously don't have very much yet. So that's it for the map feature. Not very much. I thought time still passed when I did all that. And here is graphs, and you really want to keep it kind of balanced. You want to keep your residential above your industrial. Although at first your industrial might actually be more than your residential, and it is. I was afraid of that. Ugh. Yeah, that you really don't want your industrial above your residential. That means your city is unbalanced, and I'll likely have a decline in population soon. And commercial is 610, very pathetic. But you can say traffic 24, and you could also do it over 10 years and over 100. Of course, our city's only been going on for 2 years or 3 years. And land value probably gonna be low right now. Actually, it's high right now. I don't know why. It's actually really, really high. I've never seen it this high before. Why is my land value 214? I did the Chicago scenario, and the land value on it was like 78. I was like, wow, man, that's really bad. It's because they had really high pollution, though. And so many roads. They had like a road going around every zone. It was something. Crime is pretty high, 31. We still have quite a bit of power left. Room for quite a bit more building. Decent water, so we shouldn't have a water shortage. You can see health, 58, not too good. Education, 83, decent. Unemployment, 1, that's not bad at all. And then GNP, that's a gross national product. Really doesn't mean too much to me. National population doesn't mean too much. And Fed rate, I think that's the bank rate. If you want to take out a bond, it's 4% right now, which that means I'd be paying $400 a year if I took out a bond, which is not a good idea, I must say. Oh, that's the last thing. Alright, enough of the graphs menu. And let's see how we're comparing to our neighbors. I always like checking this out. And Karen is now the biggest city. Milliville, she's behind us. She's at 2,260. And Porterville and Lister, 137. They probably don't even have a post office, poor Lister. But worry not. If as we go on through the years, these cities will be growing with us, and gradually they'll become bigger. And just like we will, they will also have their ups and downs. But we're out of money, so we need to wait till January, and then after January, I'm going to look at our ordinances, and we're going to see what kind of ordinances we need to change, and we'll probably increase our police funding, and maybe even hospital funding. And I don't know, probably will education as well. Alright, come on, January. I'm going by pretty fast. And I must say, though, the bigger your city gets, at least the PlayStation version, it seems like it really slows down how fast it travels. And look, y'all, this is becoming a 3x3. That's awesome. So it should be a really big apartment building or something. And we only gained 376 from that year. But at least we are gaining. I've actually had it happen before where you would end up with the negative amount, which is not good at all. So, you can talk to this guy here over every category, and he will tell you, he will give you some kind of advice, and he almost always says to raise taxes. I never advise raise taxes. Never. I mean, if you raised it at all, don't raise it above 8%, because your population will decline, and to me, you come out ahead more if you keep it at 7%, because you'll have a higher population. And the best thing to do to raise funding is to cut your services if you're really in dire need of raising funding. And so he always says raise taxes, but I suggest never do that, or else your city will really suffer and it will never really grow. You'll have a bunch of abandoned buildings. And city ordinances. The people are asking for a pollution ordinance. I figured they would be, so let's go over here. This book here indicates if you want to change any of these, like if I wanted to raise taxes, I would click on the taxes here and I would raise it that way, but we're on ordinance now. So we're going to look at our ordinances. And you can do a 1% sales tax, and what that will do is it will actually do a tax on commerce. And what that does is it hurts your commerce a little bit. So unless you have a really strong demand for commerce, like if you don't have very many connections to other cities, your commerce will probably decline and you'll have a lot of abandoned buildings and commerce. So you might not want to do this unless you're in dire need or unless your commerce is really doing well. Income tax, it's a tax on your residential population, and it will hurt your demand for residential unless your residential demands are really strong and your city's well balanced. Now, legalized gambling doesn't have any detriments, and if I did this, I'd get, of course my city's not very big, so I'd only get $16, but when you have a decent population, legalized gambling really can bring in the funds. However, legalized gambling has one side effect. It will really increase crime throughout your city. No matter what your police coverage is, it will really increase your crime. Parking fines, well, actually it does the same as legalized gambling right now. Parking fines, they really don't have too much of a negative effect. I think they may lower your popularity as a mayor a little bit, but I don't think they have too much of a negative effect. But I'm not going to worry about it. It's just $16 anyway. If I get desperate for funding, I may do that in the future, but not right now. And right now, since my city's just starting, I'm not going to worry about too many of these other ordinances. But I am going to do business advertising. The reason I'm doing that is because it will keep my demand for industrial high. And another reason I'm doing that is if I do the pollution ordinance, that will actually lower my demand for industrial. And we don't want that, because we want to keep our city balanced. We want to keep a steady demand. And if I do business advertising, that will counteract the pollution ordinance. And the pollution ordinance really lowers your pollution, which will also help your land value. And this is just an overall gist of what you're doing. And the only thing I'm doing is the minus 32 for the business advertising, the minus 32 for the pollution ordinance. So that's minus 64 total, but for some reason it says minus 59. I don't understand that, but oh well, I guess because it's not the beginning of the year or something. Or actually, it is the beginning of the year. I don't know why they did that. Oh, actually, I need to increase my police coverage. Now, next year we may not be getting as much money. Yeah, you say our money's going down now that we're increasing our police. And let's go ahead and increase our health also. Yeah, I don't know about 100%. We don't have that high of a population. Let's go 75. Let's go 75 on hospital and on school. Alright. And I think that should be good. Alright, y'all, so I'm not going to do any building right now because we're still pretty low on funds. So let's just see how this grows. I'm probably going to speed up, so enjoy. And I'll let you kind of watch how it grows up over this next year till we get a little bit more money, and then I might build a little bit more in 1905. So let's just see how it grows up.